Hey guys, this is Randall, and in this video we're going to look at MDX member properties and functions. This equates to chapter 14 of my book, Pro SQL Server BI Solutions. And when we get down to member properties, it just talks about a couple of examples. So if you're following along through the series, you probably noticed that the last thing we did was to talk about, expand this out a bit, working with calculated members. These calculated members are just simple little examples showing that you can put an expression together and it will do something. However, there's some interesting things about this. First of all, if you go through and make a calculated member where you have combined a couple, like say, years, and you give it a name, you can refer to it explicitly. In this case, the calculated member is actually on the dates dimension. Most calculated members actually start off on most calculated members start off on the measures dimension. That is pretty typical. And you can refer to the measures dimension and ask for the members using a property called members. Now, sometimes you'll see these referred to as functions, sometimes you refer to them as properties. Typically, a property does not have any parameters. A function does, that's in most programming languages. But there seems to be some ambiguity when you're working with MDX. You just have to go with it. In this example, I've taken off the term all members and replaced it with a property called members. So the deal is that when you use members, you don't see the new test measure. When you go ahead and use all members, you will. As to why they chose to do that, oh, who knows, but it does give you flexibility. Now you can go ahead and add a calculated member and only show that. Now that also works if you're making a calculated member in Visual Studio's or the cube's definition. If it's part of the cube's definition, it will still not show up unless you use all members. So let's see, we have current standard price, total derived price. Oh, I've taken out the other one apparently. In the book I had a calculated member that was in the cube listing. It looks like it's not in here. So anyway, the moral of the story is all members will include calculated members. Members will not. That's just an example of how you can go through and use various different properties. Now there are a bunch of them, and the combination of using them follows this kind of pattern. You will specify some kind of dimension, hierarchy, level, maybe occasionally a member, and then whatever the property is. In this case, the dim titles is by dimension, hierarchy is titles by type. Guys, that's over here. And there's my custom hierarchy, titles by type. And then I go down to the title level, and I use the all members property to display all the members of that particular level, and it shows up like that. Actually, navigating through the cube and dealing with dimensions, hierarchies, and levels is actually the next video. So we're going to take a look at that. But before I go, I want to point out that there's tons of these little functions off to the side here. If you go to the Functions tab, you'll see that plenty of them are placed over here. Examples are navigation. Navigation allows me to go through and go back and forth through those levels and hierarchies. Metadata provides just various different things. Let's see here. Where is the one we just talked about? All members. There we go. Occasionally you'll see that there's a couple of them. If you hover over them, like all members, you can see that you can put all members after a level. That's what I did here. Or you can actually put all members after a hierarchy. So if I did this, that would be the second version of it. Although I gotta tell you, it didn't really seem to make much difference in this particular case. That's it. I got the all level there. And I didn't get the all level that time. So there's a difference, but it's not, staggering. The deal was that instead of actually just pulling out all members from title, I went ahead and pulled it out from hierarchy, and it went ahead and gave me the grand total. So sometimes you'll see them occasionally listed independently, and that's what's kind of going on. There's not a lot of good information on the internet about what these guys do. Well, sometimes you'll get lucky, and other times not so much. A lot of times you just have to kind of dink with it until it actually starts working. Anyway, that's an overview of what these little properties and functions are. Again, you'll just have to kind of work with them a bit. This one here would be kind of a function. You can see the parentheses. Versus the one we just saw with members, that's considered a property. But once again, if you go out on Microsoft's website, etc., you may find the terms properties and functions interchanged. Okay, that's it. Take care. I'll talk to you later.